to him to appear, subject to the fact that we would respect the fact that we are not going to put him in a position where he would potentially compromise or prejudice those other proceedings. That is the deal that I made with Mr. Mayran on behalf of the committee. Mr. Poilievre, I made the deal. Mr. Mayran is imposing upon himself, which is a normal practice, the convention, and he's indicated that he will not be able to answer questions which have already been posed in the federal proceeding, and will advise us should those questions be posed again here. And if he does so by imposing that convention, I will accept his declaration, and the question will not need to be answered by him. That is my ruling. That is my ruling.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
So, okay,
point of order,
on a new point of order, Mr.
Yes, Mr. Chairman,
Tilson? Okay, Mr. Tilson, on a point of order.
Mr. Chairman, you just made a comment that this is standard practice. I'd like to know what your authority is that says that this is standard practice. It is not standard practice. As Mr. Poilievre has said, these proceedings, and you know, I got to tell you something. I spent about 45 minutes pointing out to the committee how, if you hold this hearing, it's going to prejudice all. There's like 3 or 4 different proceedings going on and investigations, and yet the committee insisted that this matter take place. And I don't know, you know, I went through it all. There was a report made by a House of Commons committee a number of years ago on this very point, and yet the committee insisted that we ram this through. So what I'm asking you, sir, are you telling us that we're kind of holding a hearing, but we're really not? In other words, between you and the witness, the two of you are going to decide which questions are okay and which questions aren't okay. That's not the way to hold a hearing in this place. That's not the way we do things. Mr. Poilievre is quite right. The information that he gives in these proceedings cannot be used against him with respect to a court of law.
The arrangements for the witness to appear, I totally agree. But to instruct the witness which questions to ask and which questions not to ask, I don't recall giving you authorization to do that. I don't recall being asked if we could limit the witness questions.
Okay. Now, order. Just let's take it. You're putting words in my mouth, Mr. Goodyear. The fact is that, and I think Mr. Mayran may back this up, that on the contrary, I never discussed with him the questions he could or could not answer. In fact, I told him and in the letter I wrote to him, I actually said, I want to give you all the time that you need to put the information on the table for the benefit of the members. And it's in the letter. Okay, so now this is somewhat debate. I think the transcript of that Thursday, the last meeting of the committee before the House rose, will show what the committee authorized the chair to do, and that's precisely what I did. But if they are simply going to be starting at the beginning and just reading all the questions that were asked in the court and asking him to answer on behalf of Elections Canada again, he probably will invoke the sub judice
questions that have been asked in court proceedings. It is consistently flowing from that ruling that there be another ruling that the chief electoral officer not be permitted then to repeat arguments that Elections Canada has made in those same proceedings.
Okay, Mr. Poilievre. Again, thank you for the debate. That's not a point of order, and I would ask all honorable members to be careful about interrupting the committee on points of order, which are in fact simply opportunities to say things before this committee. We shouldn't abuse that privilege that members have.
Consult Hansard as to what I said. This is, I predicted, would become a court of star chamber, and I urged the Speaker to not to effectively suspend the committee so that this court of star chamber wouldn't occur. It now appears to be unfolding as I anticipated. I anticipate that he will find the report not receivable on that basis. I also argued that the very holding of the committee meetings would effectively do the damage that the Liberals and the other opposition parties are seeking to do in tarnishing a reputation by dealing with matters before a court. I think I should be able to make the point that
I want to now...
Mr. Mayor, the argument
Order, please.
be appropriate for us to ask what exactly was said in court because the documents are in front of all of us, and that's a reasonable request.
Shutting it off. Sorry, order. Order, colleagues. Order. 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 I think what's a reasonable request is for order and decorum and for respect for the chair. And I've made rulings. I've been clear. I've been patient on what members have asked about points of order. They have not been...
I don't know what... I haven't...
Order, please.
I have... Well, sir, surely to goodness you're going to listen to my point of privilege.
Order, please.
Because So you're not going to listen to my point of privilege. There's another point of privilege. You're not listening to my point of privilege. It's outrageous, your conduct in here, Mr. Chairman.
When the chair calls order, it's because the chair has determined that they've heard enough that they understand. Mr. Tilson and Mr. Tilson. I'm going to suspend.
You said that these 5 facts were applied or were investigated in the other parties in the 38th and 39th general elections. I would presume then that you would have some paperwork that would substantiate the investigation that was applied to these other parties. Could you provide that documentation to the committee?
Again, this is very much a matter that's before the court.
Oh, no. We talked about this yesterday, Mr. Moran.
I understand that. Let me finish. I'm certainly willing to provide the committee with information that we have on this matter.
Okay, I look forward to seeing that because I'd love to see how the other parties stack up on these 5 facts and to see what level of detail was gone to make sure that they did or did not apply. I also wanted to know who first identified these 5 facts as being critical. Was this something that you made up, or was this something that somebody on your staff made up? Who identified these 5 factors as being critical?
Again, these facts come out of the analysis of the returns that were filed with Elections Canada. This is the fact. These are the facts that were observed regarding the files.
By who?
By the auditor and various other people along Elections Canada.
So a particular auditor identified these 5 facts as being critical to the test?
I can't tell that it was one auditor. I think as a result of the process I described yesterday, where matters are raised for an auditor, the auditor brings it to his team leader.
Who made the order? Who made the order to have the other parties' 38th and 39th returns investigated for these 5 facts?
I requested...
You did?
I requested my staff to conduct an analysis of the information to detect whether there was any indication that similar transaction had occurred for those 2 elections.